idea. Pay attention very, very carefully. It is simple, but it might take you a moment to understand how to use it and how to apply it. But when you do, or you're going to take off like a rocket. Oh, all right, you're going to take off like a hyperdrive spaceship. Now, creation is nothing but abundance. In, let's just put it colloquially, creation's infinite wisdom, you were created with exactly what you need to create more of whatever you need. Let's go over that one more time. When you find yourself standing in a room, outside, wherever it may be, and you feel, let's just say, oh, destitute, if that is how you feel. Let's just take that example. Nothing like extreme. To get your attention. You must understand the first part of this principle, very important in this paradox, in this power, is you still have at that moment every single thing you need. Every single thing you need. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example that is a metaphor in a sense, but realistic. Let us say you fancy yourself an artist. Now you're standing there. You have nothing. You think. What does it take to begin? What does it take to begin to be an artist? To draw something? Well, you say, well, I can't pay for the fancy paints. I can't pay for the fancy pens. I can just barely afford a pencil. Well, I know this is going to sound strange, but you know, people on your planet, when they didn't have fancy paints, when they didn't have fancy pens, when they didn't have pencils, used sticks. And they burnt the sticks to create charcoal, and they drew on cave walls. Some of the most beautiful art, you still think so today. Those cave paintings are extremely sophisticated, very beautiful, and compare with almost anything in any of your museums. And you know this. The point is they knew they had what they needed at hand. This is something you have forgotten because you have been surrounded with the idea that in order to be who you are, the only way you can do that is to have the fancy things. This is a notion I would urge you to get over now. Right now. It doesn't serve you. You don't need the fancy things. Don't be disappointed. We're getting to the point where you can have all the fancy things. But you must understand this is a two-part principle. It's a two-part principle. And it goes something like this. I'll just give you the formula right now. And you'll catch on, but we'll go over it again. Are you paying attention? Are you sure? Doesn't sound like all of you are. Yes! Okay. You convinced me. All right, here it is. Here's the formula. Let this sink in. When you learn to do more with less, you will be able to do less to get more. One more time. Pay attention. It's very powerful. When you learn to do more with less, you will be able to do less and create more. And after all, isn't that the idea behind what you call entrepreneurial spirit and being truly abundant? That you don't actually really have to do that much, that you don't really have to work that hard to bring in truckloads of money? Isn't that the idea? But how do you get to that point of not needing to do so much and yet bringing in so much? The way you get to the point of not having to do so much to make so much is finally learning to begin the process by learning to do more with less. That is the training that your consciousness needs to understand. When you accept, when you allow it to be all right, as an artist, to go back to our illustration, when you allow it to be all right to know that you can still be an artist in every sense of that concept, not lacking a thing from that concept, of its expression, of its heart, when you know you can be an artist with a stick, then you will understand how to do very little to bring to you any other tool of the artist that is possible for the artist to have to be able to express yourself on any other level you want. Remember, this is based on the idea that the greatest power, the greatest expression of power requires the most delicate touch. When you feel powerless, you attempt to move things around a lot to get them to work. You think you have to exert a lot of pressure. You think you have to exert a lot of force to make something happen. But if you stop and think about it, think about the power of creation itself. When you really are powerful, then all it takes is the slightest nudge of your little finger to move mountains. Because you are that powerful. And when you are that powerful, you don't have to exert yourself. That's the point. So when you know how to let it be all right to do what you need to do with what you have, that you can do more with less, you will empower yourself and enrich yourself and energize yourself to such a degree that the cycle will be completed. The circuit will be closed. You will use both sides of the paradox, and you will begin to see that as you become more powerful, you will need to use less of the power to accomplish more. But you've got to start by opening the gates of your imagination and by allowing yourself to understand that you, just as you are right now, without anything, you can accomplish what you really need to accomplish for yourself in some fashion. And you need to stop measuring the idea and comparing and contrasting and conflicting the idea that just because all you're capable of doing is making a picture with a burnt stick, that somehow that means you are not the artist you want to be. You've got to stop that now. Or none of this and anything else we're going to say will make any sense. Do you understand that? It's all based on this formula, on this principle, and that's it. That is the secret to money. The secret to money. When you know that you can do more with less, you will require less to do more. You need to train yourself to understand this. You need to train yourself to live this way. You need to train yourself to remember this so that it is your first thought. Not your second or your third or your last, your first thought. It is your priority. It is your job. It is your duty to yourself to understand how much access you have to everything, and that access requires almost nothing. Nothing. All you have to do is be willing to stretch and expand your definition of what it is you are and allow what you are capable of doing to be part of that definition instead of excluding it and saying, oh no, people who draw with burnt sticks are not artists. They're not the artist I want to be. Yes, it is. In every way. In every way.
This is the voice of Rayon, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. We speak to you now in peace and wisdom, as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disasters which threaten your world and the beings on our worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in the Great Awakening, as the planet passes into the new age of Aquarius. The new age can be a time of great peace and evolution for your race, but only if your rulers are made aware of the evil forces that can overshadow their judgments. Be still now and listen, for your chance may not come again. All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution if you show yourselves worthy to do this. You have but a short time to learn to live together in peace and goodwill. Small groups all over the planet are learning this, and exist to pass on the light of the dawning new age to you all. You are free to accept or reject their teachings, but only those who learn to live in peace will pass to the higher realms of spiritual evolution. Hear now the voice of Rilon, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you. Be aware also that there are many false prophets and guides operating in your world. They will suck your energy from you, the energy you call money, and will put it to evil ends, giving you worthless dross in return. Your inner divine self will protect you from this. You must learn to be sensitive to the voice within that can tell you what is truth and what is confusion, chaos, and untruth. Learn to listen to the voice of truth which is within you, and you will lead yourselves onto the path of evolution. This is our message to our dear friends. We have watched you growing for many years, as you too have watched our lights in your skies. You know now that we are here, and that there are more beings on and around your Earth than your scientists admit. We are deeply concerned about you and your path towards the light, and we will do all we can to help you. Have no fear. Seek only to know yourselves and live in harmony with the ways of your planet Earth. We of the Ashtar Galactic Command thank you for your attention. We are now leaving the planes of your existence. May you be blessed by the supreme love and truth of the cosmos.
We are the Yellow Shornaya.